Golf Pick'em Expert Picks. Brought to you by FootJoy.
We are back for another week of Pick'em in the NBC Sports Predictor app. I'm Will Gray, joined by Nick Menta. Nick, exciting finish of the Travelers last week. Now we are spinning it forward to the Motor City, the Rocket Mortgage Classic. I want to kick it off with a star-studded matchup between two of the three highest-ranked players in the field in Detroit. Webb Simpson, Bryson DeChambeau. Who gets your vote?
Yeah, Bryson riding a streak of 6 straight top 10 finishes, 3 before the restart, 3 after, and that's just the kind of streak that you have to ride out. If there's a concern at all, it's that this is the 4th straight week he's playing, but I'm very confident in his current level of physical fitness. So I'm going to take Bryson, and I don't have really any hesitation about it. I think that this might be the week that he gets that overdue victory.
Yeah, he may have had a protein shaker too while we've been filming this particular video. Webb Simpson won a couple weeks ago at the Heritage, had to withdraw last week over COVID-19 concerns. He's back at it, should play well, but I agree with you. I'm going to go with Bryson. This is a course, there's not a lot of trouble, not a lot of water. He is going to take some aggressive lines off the tee. I think that his bomb and gouge lifestyle now is really going to pay dividends. I think it's a big week for Bryson. All right, Nick, this matchup includes two players who have both already won on the PGA Tour this year, Patrick Reed and Tyrrell Hatton. Who gets your vote in Detroit?
Well, even some of the most fervent golf fans might not be aware, but Tyrrell Hatton is actually up to 15th in the official world golf ranking. The man has been on an absolute tear since last fall. Had he won at Harbour Town, where he contended, it would have been his 3rd win in his last 5 worldwide starts. The man has been as consistent as anyone not named Rory McIlroy since really September of last year. I'm taking him this week.
Yeah, definitely been on a strong run since September, 8 of 9 top 25s, as you said. But Patrick Reed, no slouch as well, and he actually has some course experience here. A T5 finish last year really sparked his resurgence that included a win earlier this year in Mexico. I really like what I see out of the stat line from Patrick Reed. 8th in total strokes gained, 4th in strokes gained putting. This could become a putting contest. Lots of birdies on the board last year. Similarly expected this year. I'm going to give a slight edge to the former Masters champion. All right, Nick, a matchup of two guys who are known for their ball striking prowess, perhaps not so much for their work on the greens. Tony Finau and Hideki Matsuyama. Who do you like in Michigan?
Yeah, both guys coming off missed cuts. Finau played last week at the Travelers. He's playing his 4th week in a row, and I kind of don't love that if you're not showing maybe your best form, whereas at least Hideki had the week off to kind of regroup at home. He was 13th in Detroit last year. I'll side with Hideki, but I'll be honest, it was a bit of a toss-up.
Yeah, listen, not all missed cuts are the same. Tony Finau, 68-69 last week at River Highlands. He's not exactly hacking it around there. And I'm actually going to lean towards Finau here because of just what I've seen out of Hideki, who, as you mentioned, he finished 13th here last year, but he's 3rd in strokes gained tee to green, 203rd in strokes gained putting. That is
not bad.
203rd. That's not great. There are going to be a lot of birdies on this course. It's going to come down to making 10, 15, 20 footers. I just don't know that Hideki is going to make enough to keep pace. I'm going to go with Finau. Two guys who have both had success at PGA National. We'll see if that translates to Detroit Golf Club. Ricky Fowler, Sungjae Im, Nick Menta. Who gets your vote?
Yeah, a matchup here of two players who are both really looking to find form. Im, the Tour's Ironman, is playing his 4th week in a row, which for him is no surprise. But after a tie for 10th at the Colonial, he missed the cut at RBC. He was 58th at Travelers. Ricky, on the other hand, busted out early at Colonial and Hilton Head, but I feel good about him taking a week off, coming back in Detroit. I like Ricky this week to get more of a quality finish.
Yeah, I am reaching for the panic button with Ricky Fowler. I'm not going to really side with him until I see some signs of progress. As you said, 2 straight missed cuts since the break, 4 missed cuts out of his last 6 starts. It's been several months since we've seen a vintage Fowler performance. I'm going to go with Sungjae Im just because he's shown a little bit more recently, including a top 10 at Colonial. A matchup of the 2 most recent WGC match play champions on the PGA Tour, Bubba Watson and Kevin Kisner. Nick, who do you like this week in Detroit?
Will, there are also 2 guys who missed the cut last week, and they're playing their 4th week in a row, so maybe some signs of wear here on both of them. Bubba missed the cut at this event last year. Kisner at least played the weekend in Detroit. And if they are indeed going to make the rough a bit more penal this year, then I actually like Kisner to ball strike his way around here better than Bubba, who can, be a little more left and right off the tee.
Definitely more high variance with Bubba, but I was actually surprised by Kisner's struggles on the stat line this year. He's outside the top 75 in every single strokes gained category. Bubba Watson at least had some signs of good form a couple weeks ago a T7 finish at Colonial. He's better on the greens, 31st this year in strokes gained putting. I'm going to give the edge to Bubba, even though he missed the cut both last week and last year. All right, Nick, an interesting matchup here between a former world number one and potentially a future world number one.
Oh.
How about that? Jason Day, Victor Hovland, who do you like?
Will, last week I told you that Victor Hovland was going to record another top 25 finish.
Yep.
And what did he do?
He got a top 25, a little better than that, too.
The Travelers. I am much less concerned when someone's playing their fourth week in a row when they're riding a bit of a heater. And I like Hovland to not just record another top 25 this week, but potentially contend for PGA Tour title. Number 2, Will, who you got?
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. As you said, he won earlier this year in Puerto Rico. He's playing really well with a rack of top 25 finishes since coming back from the break. He's top 12 in strokes gained off the tee and approach. And Jason Day just hasn't been doing much other than playing rounds by himself at the Travelers Championship last week. He only has one top 10 finish in the last year. That is not enough to get me to take him over the Norwegian. Give me some Victor Hovland stock right now. Our final matchup of the week includes the guy who won last year and the guy who nearly won last week. Nate Lashley, Brendan Todd. Nick, who do you like?
Yeah, it was a disastrous final round for Todd at the Travelers, but I much prefer someone who just took a 54-hole lead on the PGA Tour than someone who's missed his last 4 cuts in a row. Will, you personally witnessed Nate Lashley run away in Detroit last year, and while a return to this golf course may be exactly what he needs, I will instead place my trust in Brendan Todd.
Yeah, I tend to agree. It's amazing to think that Brendan Todd a year ago missed out on the Monday qualifier for the Rocket Mortgage Classic. Here he is, a 2-time winner on the tour this season. Nearly got his third at Travelers. As you mentioned, Lashley has had a rough go of it. He's missed several cuts in a row. Hasn't made the weekend since the Phoenix Open, where, albeit he did finish in the tie for third. But I agree with you. I think Brendan Todd is the safe bet, even though Lashley did knock our socks off very much so last year at this event. So those are our picks for the matchups. Now let's turn our attention to the overall tournament winner. Nick, I think we might have a little bit of agreement here, but I am loading up on some more Bryson DeChambeau stock. What about you?
Will, are you ready for this? Are you ready? Bryson is going to DeChambeau show us all. No. This is the week he gets it done. Coming off 6 straight top 10s, he's overdue for a victory. I think this is the week, the golf course, where he picks up that victory.
Yeah, I definitely like what I've seen out of him on courses that don't necessarily play right into his hand. This is a course that should favor the type of game he's playing right now. 6 straight top 10s, as you mentioned. Clearly the top dog in what is maybe a little bit of a weaker field than what we've seen over the last few weeks. But I'll give you one more sleeper if you want someone to go a little off the beaten path. How about Doc Redman? Finished second at this event last year, top 25 finishes each of the last 2 weeks. The ball striking is off the charts. Wouldn't surprise me to see him contend again this week. All right, those are our picks. Remember, go on the NBC Sports Predictor app, make your selections for the head-to-head matchups, pick a tournament winner, pick a score. You could win $50,000 with a perfect score. Each week, you've got $1,000 in guaranteed prizes up for grabs. We'll do this all again next week. Remember, I'm Will Gray for Nick Menta. Thanks for tuning in. Make your picks on the NBC Sports Predictor app. See you next time.
Golf Pick'em Expert Picks. Brought to you by FootJoy.